Hi guys, it's Miss Sarah here. I miss seeing you all. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good summer. I want to talk to you about a story today. It's about when something happened in the Bible that we're going to talk about. And I want to ask you, have you ever felt like you faced something that's been really big or really hard or really so overwhelming, so evil, so huge that you never thought that you could ever win your battle against this big, scary thing? Can you think of something? Maybe tell your brother or your sister or your mom or whoever's sitting with you what you can think of that's been really scary in your life that has caused you to be afraid. Do you know you're not the first person to feel that way? No, you're not the first person. It's happened all through time. I've felt that way. We have lots of examples in the Bible of people that have felt scared and alone and like their battle was just too big for them to fight alone. Today's story is from the Jesus Storybook Bible, and I want you to remember the stories in our Bible are real stories. They're not just pretend fun things that we like to tell you on Sunday morning to pass the time. These are real stories about real people. And God, when He put the Bible together, He said, these are the things I think are most important for you to remember. And so if God put it in here, we need to learn it, right? And so this story today is about David and Goliath. All right? God's people had this enemy, and the enemy was the Philistines, and they were big and they were strong, and they said, whoever wins this battle, we're going to fight you, and whoever wins the battle, whoever wins is the leader, and the other people are the servants, and you will be our slaves if you lose this battle. And the Israelites were scared. I'd be scared too. Would you be scared? Yeah, I would be very scared, because they weren't just just like the little kid down the street. They were big, strong warriors, right? And they had a especially big, strong leader warrior, and his name was Goliath. Have you heard of Goliath before? I pictured Goliath to be like this big, giant man, and I picture God's people to be very little, very scary. I wouldn't want to face this big, giant warrior, would you? So they were frozen. God's people were frozen in fear. They wouldn't know what to do. Now, if I was in this situation and I was trying to figure out who was going to fight the battle, I'd pick the strongest, best warrior in my whole army. But that's not what God did. No. Is that what you would do? Yeah. We would probably just pick whoever looked like the strongest leader. But God chose David, and David wasn't the best warrior that had lots of experience. No, he was the youngest brother of a family. His older brothers were in the war. His older brothers were fighting, but not David. He was like the runt, the little guy. And God said, I look at the heart. I'm not worried about that stuff. I want David. And so King Saul said, okay, David's who it's going to be, but let me help him. I'm going to help him. I'm going to give him a lot. I'm going to give him swords and shields, and I'm going to give him so much armor he won't even be able to stand up. And David said, no, I don't think I need all that. God's going to win this battle, not me anyway. And so David went to the river, and David got some smooth stones. That's what David got, just 5 of them in a slingshot. Do you have a slingshot at your house? I get nervous with the slingshots at my house because I think about what would have been future King David. But at this point, he's just little David with his 5 rocks and his slingshot. So he comes out to Goliath, big, scary Goliath. And Goliath says, you've insulted me. You've brought up this little man to fight me. And David said, no, I won't fight you with a spear and a sword. The Lord will fight this battle. So what do you think David did? I know what I would do. I would run and I would hide. But that's not what David did. David took one of his smooth stones. He put it in his slingshot. He took one shot and whiz, hit that giant right in the middle of his forehead. And what happened to Goliath? Bump. He fell over. That was the end of Goliath with one shot from his slingshot. This, we have to remember, is because David didn't win this battle. God won this battle for David. David wasn't the warrior hero, although he was a hero for his people. God was the real hero. And you know why this matters to us, guys? Well, it matters to us because David's a really important part of the story of Jesus. But even more so, this is a hint of what Jesus would do for us, right? We can't win the battle of sin on our own. Jesus comes, and Jesus is going to be and is our warrior hero. He's our forever hero. He's the one that can save us. So guys, I want you to remember next time you're in a scary position that you're not the one that fights the battle. God fights the battle for you. And no matter what, Jesus has won. And that's something we can celebrate, right? Right. Okay, so that's all I'm going to tell you about this story. But you can read this story with your mom or dad or your aunt, uncle, or grandma or somebody. And it's about in the middle of your Jesus Storybook Bible, okay? And what's the one thing I want you to remember? Do you remember what it is? I want you to remember that God fights the battles, that God has won the battle, right? And that we don't have to be afraid because we have a hero named Jesus, and he has won the battle for us. Okay, so I don't know if you all know my son Grant, but he spent a bunch of time putting together a fun story for you, and it has no words. It's totally silent, but it's the story of David and Goliath with Legos. Okay, so I want you to watch this, and maybe you can pause it, find the pause button, and then you could maybe read along the story and then watch it take place on the screen in Legos, okay? Thank you for letting me join you this week. We'll be back with you next week for another lesson, and we love you very much, and we wish you all the best.